Some secrets are kept out of shame, others out of fear. But Rachel Williams kept her secret out of love, the kind of love that sacrifices everything, including the right to be called Mom. For 16 years, she had watched her biological daughter Emma from a distance, never interfering with the perfect family who had adopted her, never claiming credit for the remarkable young woman Emma had become. But when Ellen brought them together on that stage, the world would learn that sometimes the deepest love is the one that stays hidden, and sometimes the greatest gift a mother can give is the space to let someone else raise the child she'll never stop loving. The studio was alive with energy as Ellen finished her opening dance to Taylor Swift's Love Story, the song choice seeming almost prophetic given what was about to unfold. The audience was still laughing from Ellen's monologue about trying to understand TikTok trends, and the warm California sunshine streaming through the windows promised that this would be one of those episodes that reminded everyone why family comes in all different forms. Emma Harrison sat in the green room, nervously smoothing her favorite yellow sundress, the one her adoptive mother Lisa had bought her for her 16th birthday last month. She had the kind of natural beauty that came from being genuinely loved, bright hazel eyes that sparkled with intelligence and curiosity, honey blonde hair that she wore in loose waves, and the confident posture of someone who had never doubted her place in the world. Despite being adopted, Emma had never felt like anything was missing from her life, until recently when questions about her origins had started keeping her awake at night. Emma had never imagined she would be sitting backstage at the Ellen DeGeneres show. 3 weeks earlier, her adoptive parents, Lisa and Mark Harrison, had surprised her with the news that they'd submitted her story to the show's Finding Family segment. Emma had been both thrilled and terrified when the producers called. She had always been curious about her birth parents, but had never wanted to hurt the people who had given her everything by searching for someone else. What Emma didn't know was that her story was about to intersect with another story that had been 16 years in the making. Unknown to the Harrison family, the producers had received a separate letter from someone who had been waiting for this moment since the day she signed adoption papers in 2008. The letter had come from Rachel Williams, who had written, "I gave birth to a daughter 16 years ago and placed her for adoption. I have respected that decision every day since, but I have also loved her every day since. If she ever wants to find me, I want her to know that I have been here all along, waiting and hoping and celebrating her life from afar." "Emma Harrison, you're ready in 5 minutes," a production assistant announced. Emma took a deep breath, touched the small heart necklace her mom had given her for courage, and followed the assistant toward the stage. As she walked through the corridors lined with photos of Ellen's most memorable family reunions, she wondered if her birth mother ever thought about her, if she would recognize her, or if she even wanted to be found. Ellen's introduction was warm and gentle. "My next guest is a remarkable 16-year-old who has been loved deeply her entire life by her adoptive family. But recently she's been curious about her origins, and today we're going to help her explore that curiosity. Please welcome Emma Harrison." The audience applauded as Emma walked onto the stage, her nervous excitement evident but endearing. Ellen greeted her with her signature hug and immediately sensed the mix of anticipation and anxiety radiating from this thoughtful teenager. "Emma, thank you for being here," Ellen said as they settled onto the familiar white couch. 16 is such an interesting age to start thinking about your origins. Tell me about your family." Emma's face lit up immediately. "Oh, I have the most amazing family. My mom Lisa is a teacher, and my dad Mark is a firefighter. They adopted me when I was 3 weeks old, and they've never made me feel like anything other than their daughter. I have a younger brother, Jake, who's also adopted, and we're super close." Ellen smiled warmly. "It sounds like you have a beautiful family. What made you start thinking about your birth parents now?" Emma paused thoughtfully, clearly having considered this question many times. It's not that I feel like anything is missing exactly. My parents have always been open about my adoption, and they've told me that whenever I was ready to learn more about my birth parents, they would support me. But lately, I've been wondering about things like medical history, where I get my love of music from, whether I look like anyone. Ellen leaned forward with interest. Those are completely natural questions. Have you talked to your adoptive parents about searching? Yes, and they're completely supportive, Emma said quickly. They've always said that loving me means wanting me to have all the information I need to understand myself fully. They're not threatened by my curiosity. They're encouraging it. Ellen could see the maturity and emotional intelligence in this young woman. That speaks to how secure and loving your family is. Emma, your parents wrote to us about your desire to learn more about your birth family. How do you feel about the possibility of meeting your birth mother? Emma's expression grew more serious. Honestly, I'm terrified and excited at the same time. I'm scared that she might not want to see me, or that she's moved on with her life and doesn't want to be reminded of a difficult time. But I'm also hopeful that maybe she thinks about me sometimes, and that maybe she'd want to know how I turned out. The studio had grown noticeably quieter as the audience sensed the depth of Emma's emotions. Emma, Ellen said gently, what would you say to your birth mother if she was watching right now? Emma looked directly into the camera, her voice strong and clear. I would want her to know that I don't have any anger or resentment. I understand that giving me up was probably the hardest decision she ever made, and I'm grateful that she made it out of love. I would want her to know that I've had a wonderful life, that I've been loved and supported and encouraged to be everything I could be, and I would want her to know that if she ever wanted to meet me, I would love that, but only if she wanted it too. Ellen felt tears prickling her eyes as she listened to this remarkable teenager's words. Emma, that's incredibly mature and generous of you. My parents taught me that love multiplies, it doesn't divide, Emma said simply. Having curiosity about my birth mother doesn't mean I love my adoptive parents any less. It just means my heart has room for more people. What Emma didn't know was that her birth mother had been teaching herself the same lesson for 16 years. Rachel Williams had spent countless hours in therapy, learning how to love Emma from a distance, how to celebrate someone else raising the daughter she would always consider hers, and how to find peace in a decision that had broken her heart but saved Emma's future. Ellen looked toward her producers in the booth, knowing that what happened next would either be the most beautiful reunion or would require the most delicate handling. Emma, Ellen said carefully, what if I told you that your birth mother has been thinking about you every single day for 16 years? Emma's eyes widened. What do you mean? What if I told you that she's been following your life from a distance, celebrating your accomplishments, worrying during your challenges, and hoping every day that you were happy and loved? Emma's hands flew to her mouth. Is she here? Ellen stood up and looked toward the stage entrance. Rachel Williams, would you like to come out here? The audience gasped as a woman in her 30s walked onto the stage. Rachel Williams had the same honey blonde hair as Emma, the same hazel eyes, and the same gentle smile. She wore a simple blue dress and carried herself with the nervous grace of someone who had been preparing for this moment for 16 years. Emma's eyes filled with tears as she saw for the first time where she got her looks, her expressions, her smile. Emma, Rachel said softly, her voice breaking slightly. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. Emma stood up from the couch, her legs shaky. You're my birth mother? Yes, Rachel whispered, tears streaming down her face. I'm Rachel. I've been waiting to meet you for so long. Ellen watched as birth mother and daughter stared at each other, 16 years of separation colliding with a lifetime of unspoken love. Rachel, Ellen said gently, can you tell Emma why you gave her up for adoption? Rachel wiped her eyes and looked directly at Emma. I was 17 when I got pregnant with you. I was still in high school, living with my own parents, and I had no way to provide for a baby. But more than that, I wanted you to have everything. Two parents who were ready for children, financial stability, educational opportunities. I wanted you to have the life I couldn't give you." Emma was crying now, too. Did you ever regret it?" "Never," Rachel said immediately. "Not once. Every day has been hard without you, but seeing the incredible young woman you've become proves that I made the right choice." Ellen reached for tissues and handed them to both women. "Rachel, Emma mentioned that she's wondered if you ever think about her. Can you answer that?" Rachel's smile was radiant despite her tears. "Emma, I think about you every morning when I wake up and every night before I go to sleep. I have followed your life from a distance. I've been to your soccer games, your school plays, your academic award ceremonies. I've never interfered or made myself known because I didn't want to disrupt your family, but I've been there." Emma's mouth fell open. "You've been to my games?" "Every single one," Rachel admitted. "I sat in the back, cheered quietly when you scored, and cried when you got that scholarship offer last month." "You know about my scholarship?" Emma asked in amazement. Ellen was fascinated by this revelation. "Rachel, how have you been able to follow Emma's life so closely?" Rachel looked slightly embarrassed. I may have become friends with some of the other parents over the years. They don't know who I am, but they share photos and updates on social media. I've created a whole life around staying connected to Emma's world without being part of it." Emma was staring at Rachel in wonder. "You've been watching me grow up?" "I've been so proud of you," Rachel said, her voice thick with emotion. "Your kindness, your intelligence, your musical talent, your athletic ability, you've exceeded every hope I had for you." Ellen couldn't contain her curiosity. "Emma, your parents mentioned you love music. Rachel, do you have any musical background?" "I'm a music teacher," Rachel said with a laugh. "Piano and voice. I've wondered if that's where you got your talent." Emma's eyes lit up. "I play piano too, and I sing in the school choir." "I know," Rachel said softly. "I was at your spring concert. You sang Hallelujah, and it was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard." Ellen was openly crying now. "This is incredible. Emma, how are you feeling right now?" Emma looked at Rachel, then at Ellen, then back at Rachel. "I feel complete, like a puzzle piece I didn't know was missing just fell into place. But I also feel grateful that you loved me enough to give me the family you knew I needed." But Ellen wasn't finished with her surprises. "Emma, there are some other people who want to meet Rachel." Lisa and Mark Harrison walked onto the stage, followed by Emma's younger brother Jake. Instead of tension or awkwardness, the adoptive parents approached Rachel with warm smiles. Lisa spoke first. "Rachel, we have wanted to thank you for 16 years. You gave us the greatest gift imaginable." Mark nodded enthusiastically. "We've always told Emma that her birth mother was a hero, and meeting you proves that's true." Rachel was overwhelmed by their generosity. "You've given her everything I dreamed she would have. You've raised an incredible daughter." Jake, Emma's 13-year-old adopted brother, stepped forward, shyly. "Are you Emma's real mom?" Rachel knelt down to Jake's level. "I'm Emma's birth mom, but Lisa is Emma's real mom. She's the one who raised her and loved her every day. I just helped to bring her into the world." Lisa wiped her eyes. "Rachel, we would love for you to be part of Emma's life, if that's what everyone wants." Ellen watched this extraordinary family moment unfold. "What do you think, Emma? How do you feel about having Rachel in your life?" Emma looked around at all the people surrounding her, her adoptive parents who had given her everything, her brother who had always been her partner in adventure, and her birth mother who had loved her enough to let her go. "I think love really does multiply," Emma said. "I don't have to choose between families. I can have both." Rachel reached into her purse and pulled out a small photo album. "Emma, I've been keeping this for you. It's pictures of me when I was pregnant, ultrasound photos, and letters I wrote to you over the years." Emma accepted the album with trembling hands. "You wrote me letters?" Every birthday, every Christmas, every time I missed you so much I couldn't breathe, Rachel explained. I never knew if you'd ever read them, but I needed to write them. Ellen had one more surprise. Emma, Rachel, I want to do something special. I'm arranging for your families to take a vacation together, a chance to blend your two worlds and create new memories. The stage filled with hugs as both families embraced, and Ellen realized she was witnessing something magical, the creation of an extended family built on love, respect, and the understanding that there are many ways to be a mother. 6 months later, Emma sent Ellen a photo from her high school graduation. In the picture, she's surrounded by both families, Lisa and Mark on one side, Rachel on the other, and Jake beaming in the middle. They had all become integral parts of each other's lives, proving that love truly does multiply when hearts are open. Rachel had become a cherished family friend who attended holidays and celebrations, while Lisa and Mark had gained a deeper appreciation for the sacrifice that had made their family possible. Emma had gained not just answers about her origins, but a living example of what it means to love someone so much that you put their needs before your own desires. Because sometimes the most profound act of motherhood isn't raising a child. It's choosing the right people to raise that child, then loving them enough to trust that choice while keeping your heart open for the day when paths might cross again.